Chapter 10. The Lord's glory leaves the temple. I saw the dome that was above the four-winged creatures, and on it was the sapphire throne. The Lord said to the man in the linen robe, "Walk among the four wheels beside the creatures and pick up as many hot coals as you can carry. Then scatter them over the city of Jerusalem." I watched him as he followed the Lord's instructions. The winged creatures were standing south of the temple when the man walked among them. A cloud filled the inner courtyard, and the brightness of the Lord's glory moved from above the creatures and stopped at the entrance of the temple. The entire temple was filled with his glory, and the courtyard was dazzling bright. The sound of the creature's wings was as loud as the voice of God all-powerful, and could even be heard in the outer courtyard. The man in the robe was now standing beside the wheel. One of the four creatures reached its hand into the fire among them and gave him some of the hot coals. The man took the coals and left. I noticed again that each of the four-winged creatures had what looked like human hands under their wings, and I saw the four wheels near the creatures. These wheels were shining like chrysolite. Each wheel was exactly the same and had a second wheel that cut through the middle of it so that they could move in any direction without turning. The wheels moved together whenever the creatures moved. I also noticed that the wheels and the creatures' bodies, including their backs, their hands, and their wings, were covered with eyes, and I heard a voice calling these the wheels that spin. Each of the winged creatures had four faces: the face of a bull, the face of a human, the face of a lion, and the face of an eagle. These were the same creatures I had seen near the river Kebar. They controlled when and where the wheels moved. The wheels went wherever the creatures went and stopped whenever they stopped. Even when the creatures flew in the air, the wheels stayed beside them. Then I watched the brightness of the Lord's glory move from the entrance of the temple and stop above the winged creatures. They spread their wings and flew into the air with the wheels at their side. They stopped at the east gate of the temple, and the Lord's glory was above them. I knew for certain that these were the same creatures I had seen beneath and Lord's glory near the river Kebar. They had four wings with hands beneath them, and they had the same four faces as those near the river. Each creature moved straight ahead without turning. Chapter 11. Ezekiel condemns Jerusalem's wicked leaders. The Lord's Spirit lifted me up and took me to the east gate of the temple, where I saw 25 men, including the two leaders, Zezaniah son of Azur and Pelatiah son of Benaiah. The Lord said, "Ezekiel, son of man, these men are making evil plans and giving dangerous advice to the people of Jerusalem. They say things like, 'Let's build more houses. This city is like a cooking pot over a fire, and we are the meat. But at least the pot keeps us from being burnt in the fire.'" So Ezekiel condemned them. The Lord's Spirit took control of me and told me to tell these leaders, "I, the Lord, know what your leaders are saying. You have murdered so many people that the city is filled with dead bodies. This city is indeed a cooking pot, but the bodies of those you killed and the meat. And so I will force you to leave Jerusalem, and I'll send armies to attack you, just as you fear. Then you will be captured and punished by foreign enemies. You will be killed in your own country, but not before you realize that I, the Lord, have done these things. You leaders claim to be meat in a cooking pot, but you won't be protected by this city. No, you will die at the border of Israel. You will realize that while you were following the laws of nearby nations, you were disobeying my laws and teachings, and I am the Lord. Before I finished speaking, Pelatiah dropped dead. I bowed down and cried out, "Please, Lord God, don't kill everyone left in Israel." A promise of hope. The Lord replied, "Ezekiel, son of man, the people living in Jerusalem claim that you and the other Israelites who were taken to Babylonia are too far away to worship me. They also claim that the land of Israel now belongs only to them. But here is what I want you to tell the Israelites in Babylonia. It's true that I, the Lord God, have forced you out of your own country and made you live among foreign nations. But for now, I will be with you wherever you are, so that you can worship me. And someday I will gather you from the nations where you are scattered and let you live in Israel again. When that happens, I want you to clear the land of all disgusting idols. Then I will take away your stubbornness and make you eager to be completely faithful to me. You will want to obey me and all my laws and teachings. You will be my people, and I will be your God. But those who worship idols will be punished and get what they deserve. I, the Lord, have spoken. The Lord's glory leaves Jerusalem. After the Lord had finished speaking, the winged creatures spread their wings and flew into the air, and the wheels were beside them. The brightness of the Lord's glory above them left Jerusalem and stopped at a hill east of the city. Then in my vision, the Lord's Spirit lifted me up and carried me back to the other exiles in Babylonia. The vision faded away, and I told them everything the Lord had shown me. Messages of doom for Judah and Jerusalem, chapter 12. Ezekiel acts out Israel's captivity. The Lord said, "Ezekiel, son of man, you are living among rebellious people. They have eyes but refuse to see. They have ears but refuse to listen. So before it gets dark, here is what I want you to do. Pack a few things as though you were going to be taken away as a prisoner. Then go outside where everyone can see you and walk around from place to place. Perhaps as they watch, they will realize what rebels they are. After you have done this, return to your house. Later that evening, leave your house as if you are going into exile. Dig through the wall of your house and crawl out, carrying the bag with you. Make sure everyone is watching. Lift the bag to your shoulders and with your face covered, take it into the darkness so that you cannot see the land you are leaving. All this will be a warning for the people of Israel." I did everything the Lord had said. I packed a few things. Then, as the sun was going down and while everyone was watching, I dug a hole through one of the walls of my house. I pulled out my bag, then lifted it to my shoulders and left it in the darkness. The next morning, the Lord reminded me that those rebellious people didn't even ask what I was doing. So he sent me back to tell them, "The Lord God has a message for the leader of Jerusalem and everyone living there. I have done these things to show them what will happen when they are taken away as prisoners. The leader of Jerusalem will lift his own bag to his shoulders at sunset and leave through a hole that the others have dug in the wall of his house. He will cover his face so he can't see the land he is leaving. The Lord will spread out a net and trap him as he leaves Jerusalem. He will then be led away to the city of Babylon, but will never see that place, even though he will die there. His own officials and troops will scatter in every direction, and the Lord will track them down and put them to death. The Lord will force the rest of the people in Jerusalem to live in foreign nations, where they will realize that he has done all these things. Some of them will survive the war, the starvation, and the deadly diseases. That way, they will be able to tell foreigners how disgusting their sins were, and that is the Lord who punished them in this way. A sign of fear, the Lord said. Ezekiel, son of man, shake with fear when you eat, and tremble when you drink. Tell the people of Israel that I, the Lord, say that someday everyone in Jerusalem will shake when they eat and tremble when they drink. Their country will be destroyed and left empty because they have been cruel and violent. Every town will lie in ruins, and the land will be a barren desert. Then they will know that I am the Lord. The words of the Lord will come true, the Lord said. Ezekiel, son of man, you've heard people in Israel use the saying, time passes and prophets are proved wrong. Now tell the people that I, the Lord, am going to prove that saying wrong. No one will ever be able to use it again in Israel, because very soon everything I have said will come true. The people will hear no more useless warnings and false messages. I will give them my message, and what I say will certainly happen. Warn those rebels that the time has come for them to be punished. I, the Lord, make this promise. Ezekiel, the people of Israel are also saying that your visions and messages are only about things in the future. So tell them that my words will soon come true, just as I have warned. I, the Lord, have spoken. Chapter 13 Lying Prophets. The Lord said, Ezekiel, son of man, condemn the prophets of Israel who say they speak in my name, but who preach messages that come from their own imagination. Tell them it's time to hear my message. I, the Lord God, say those lying prophets are doomed. They don't see visions. They make up their own messages. Israel's prophets are no better than jackals that hunt for food among the ruins of a city. They don't warn the people about coming trouble or tell them how dangerous it is to sin against me. Those prophets lie by claiming they speak for me, but I have not even chosen them to be my prophets, and they still think their words will come true. They say they are preaching my messages, but they are full of lies. I did not speak to them. So I am going to punish those lying prophets for deceiving the people of Israel with false messages. I will turn against them and no longer let them belong to my people. They will not be allowed to call themselves Israelites or even to set foot in Israel. Then they will realize that I am the Lord God. Those prophets refuse to be honest. They tell my people there will be peace, even though there is no peace to be found. They are like workers who think they can fix a shaky wall by covering it with paint. But when I send rainstorms, hailstones, and strong winds, the wall will surely collapse. People will then ask the workers why the paint didn't hold it up. That wall is the city of Jerusalem, and I, the Lord God, am so angry that I will send strong winds, rainstorms, and hailstones to destroy it. The lying prophets have tried to cover up the evil in Jerusalem, but I will tear down the city all the way to its foundations. And when it collapses, those prophets will be killed, and everyone will know that I have done these things. The city of Jerusalem and its lying prophets will feel my fierce anger. Then I will announce that the city has fallen and that the lying prophets are dead, because they promised my people peace when there was no peace. I, the Lord God, have spoken. Women who wear magic charms, the Lord said. Ezekiel, son of man, now condemn the women of Israel who preach messages that come from their own imagination. Tell them they are doomed. They wear magic charms on their wrists and scarves on their heads, then trick others into believing they can predict the future. They won't get away with telling those lies. They charge my people a few handfuls of barley and a couple of pieces of bread, and then give messages that are insulting to me. They use lies to sentence the innocent to death and to help the guilty go free, and my people believe them. I hate the magic charms they use to trick people into believing their lies. I will rip those charms from their wrists and set free the people they have trapped like birds. I will tear the scarves from their heads and rescue my people from their power once and for all. Then they will know that I am the Lord God. They do things I would never do. They lie to good people and encourage them to do wrong, and they convince the wicked to keep sinning and ruin their lives. I will no longer let these women give false messages and use magic, and I will free my people from their control. Then they will know that I, the Lord, have done these things.